So it's only 1:55, so I'm going to go ahead and start going with my introduction, and then by the time I get right into the meat and potatoes of everything, I'm sure everyone who wants to attend the session will be on board. So, hello, welcome everyone. My name is Laura of Laura Hartnell Career Transition Services. I am a certified and award-winning resume writer, and I also help people to optimize their LinkedIn profiles and create diverse job search strategies so that they can get to their targeted positions. So today I'm going to be talking about how to leverage LinkedIn in your job search. So I really do want to emphasize the importance of LinkedIn in today's job search. As a member of Career Directors International, I'm on their education committee, and I run something called Recruiter Voice, which is a bi-monthly column where we reach out to recruiters all across the globe in order to get their insights on certain career topics. So one of the questions I pose to these recruiters, who are, I'd say, primarily from Canada, the United States, and Australia, is what job platforms do you use in order to source talent? And it was a resounding consensus that the platform that most recruiters go to is LinkedIn. So that just tells you how important it is to have a strong personal brand on LinkedIn and high visibility. Which is exactly what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So with LinkedIn, there are different ways that you want to look at it. Number one is to build up your personal brand, tell your career story. And then the other component to it is engaging. And through your engaging and the way that you basically tap into the algorithm is how you're going to increase your visibility. Especially, being found within that particular industry and showing you have credibility by highlighting your achievements and, of course, showing your career progression, but also engaging in those leading industry conversations. That's how you get noticed by the right people. And then it's also a fantastic tool for conducting research into companies and finding common ground with other people and building relationships with people inside the companies that you have your eye on. So I have kind of a casual approach to my presentations. I like to actually share my screen and walk through a real person's profile. So my friend Felipe has wonderfully let me use his profile today in order to show an example of what a strong LinkedIn presence looks like. And you'll notice that I do tend to look to the side here. That's because I've got two screens, and I've got the session screen pulled up on my other monitor so that I can see your questions and your comments as they come in. So that's why I'm darting my eyes this way. And there is a 10-minute buffer between the sessions. So if you have questions, absolutely feel free to ask, and I can address those questions at the end of my little presentation here. And absolutely feel free to connect with me. I will also put my LinkedIn URL in the chat box before I end the presentation. Okay, so let's start by talking about your profile. So one of the most important things to make sure you have included throughout your profile are the right keywords. So I'm going to start just going through this profile top to bottom from a high level kind of overview of what you want to make sure you're including. So let's talk about so this is where you have that opportunity to include a bunch of really great keywords that a recruiter, a hiring manager, an HR associate, think of the words they would be typing into their search in order to find you. And you want to try to load up as many of those keywords as you possibly can in your headline. One thing that I see a lot of job seekers doing is putting open to opportunities or new graduate looking for new opportunities, but it doesn't give me any indication as to what your skill set is, or what kind of jobs you're targeting. So be very specific in using the right kind of clear keywords that you can be found by those recruiters. Okay, so keywords is important to be being found, but I do want to mention that your LinkedIn profile picture is often the first impression somebody has of you and your personality. So Absolutely, make sure that you smile and you look friendly and approachable. That's the most important aspect of your profile picture. You don't have to have a super fancy suit on. Dress like you would if you were going into the particular work environment that you're targeting. But just remember, looking friendly and approachable is what you want to achieve within that picture. Because I've seen a lot of profile pictures where people look very stern, and it just doesn't send the message that, hey, I want to collaborate with that person. Okay. Another thing that you can do to spruce up your LinkedIn profile is create a custom banner or background photo. And one really great free tool you can use is Canva. So that's what I've used in order to create a lot of my clients' background photos. And if you go into Canva, you can set up a free account. And you'll have designs you can pick from. It's being a little slow right now, but they have headline banners. So, whether you want to create a background photo that is, it could be a stock photo showing something that's relevant to your industry. Even better, it could be a photo of you engaging with your work in some way. Just be careful, of course, that if you are using a photo of some kind of project that you've been working on, not to include any secret company information in that. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit here. So I mentioned you don't want to include open to new opportunities in your headline, but you certainly can click this as an option in order to put in, I think it gives you 5 options here in order to include as targeted positions you're looking for. And that signals to recruiters that you are open and seeking those types of opportunities. Felipe does not have anything in his featured section, but LinkedIn does give you the opportunity to pin featured posts, articles, media to the top of your profile, which is fantastic because then when somebody does go on your profile, they're able to see right away some of your thought leadership. So definitely if you have a link to a portfolio, that's where you can include it. If you have created a video to outline your leadership philosophy, that's where you can include it. And that can create a really great first impression. Okay, so the headline is super important for keywords, but so is the about section. You want to make sure you have the right keywords in here, but you also want to tell a compelling story about your career and your skills and your achievements. So LinkedIn it's not as formal as a resume. But I'm surprised at how many people I still see having a very formal third-person biography of themselves. So you can talk from first-person point of view. So that's using I, me, telling your story. This isn't necessarily a golden rule, but one thing that I think is a strong way to start your LinkedIn profile is to think what it is that you do in order to drive some kind of impact within a company or an organization. Boil that value down into one sentence and then use that as your opener on your about section. So in Felipe's about section, he has talked about how his skills in continuous improvement, team development, and sales engineering converge to consistently boost productivity. And then he's gone and he's outlined each of these 3 top areas for his skills, and then he's put in notable achievements. So this is telling a strong story. It's breaking it up into digestible chunks of information. It's using white space, which is easier on the eyes. It helps you navigate where to look. And he's used some strategic bolding. And just a fun little way to add some flair to your profile and also posts on LinkedIn is something called this Unicode text converter. This is one example. So if you copy and paste what you want to put into your profile or your post, I'll just put example. And then what that will do is it will give you a bunch of different text that you can copy and paste back into your profile. And that's what you use in order to get these bolded and italicized characters. Okay, and also another great thing that Felipe has included is in areas of expertise. And once again, this is just to chock this full of keywords where he's outlined all the hard skills that he brings to the table. Recruiters definitely will look at your activity. So what do I mean by activity? That's where you're commenting, liking, sharing posts. You want to engage with insights. So, you know, if you notice something, a post about something in your industry, and you have a comment you want to add to support or support that conversation, share a new idea or an experience you've had doing something similar, this is where it will show up to people viewing your profile. So experience, one thing that I recommend for people who are job searching that are currently unemployed is to create an experience, a job title that's just your name. And that's because, unfortunately, the LinkedIn algorithm tends to favor people who are currently employed. So this is just one way that you can try to help your chances of searchability, is to include just whatever job title you're targeting and your name. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you have the space here where you can it can kind of become an extension of your about section. So with the experiences, you want to focus on making sure you're including your achievements, quantifying or qualifying those achievements, whenever possible. And I'm just clicking away here. Sorry about that. Okay. So as far as your experience goes, I like to try to keep similar formatting throughout the text. So can provide a high-level overview of what your day-to-day duties look like, but then create some bulleted value statements or achievement statements to outline how you've really driven results and made an impact within that company or that organization. Just taking a look here, see if I have any questions popping up. Education, skills, endorsements, achievements, languages. There's all sorts of other features that you can include on LinkedIn. When you do include your skills and endorsements, you have 50 that you can include. So really load it up with keywords, and then make sure they're ordered in, or make sure you've pinned 3 that are the most relevant to what you're looking for, because that's really, people only look at the 3 here and will click the little plus sign. It's rare that they'll actually expand it to look at the rest. So if you want to get endorsed for those 3 skills, make sure they're at the very top. Okay, I'm going to end it there as far as LinkedIn profile. But now I want to talk about how you can monitor your search appearances and use that as a way to guide your keyword inclusion. So I'm just going to hop over to my profile quickly to show you. So what do I mean by search appearances? If you scroll down on your own profile to your dashboard, you'll see search appearances. If you click on that, it's going to show you where your searches work, what their job titles are, but the most important thing to look at here is the keywords that they typed in order to find you. So if you're looking at this and you're seeing keywords that are associated with a job that you don't want, that's a good indication that you need to make some changes to the way you're including keywords in your profile. You need to kind of work those keywords out and start to include more of the keywords that are within that targeted industry or position that you are looking to secure. And while we're on the topic of analytics, I'm going to show you guys your social selling dashboard. So this is a really cool feature that LinkedIn has as part of Sales Navigator. It's free for anybody to use it. All you have to do is, as long as you're logged in, type linkedin.com/sales/SSI into your browser, and it will pull up your SSI index, so your social selling index. And it will show you where you rank in comparison to other people in your industry. And what I like about this is you don't have to be in sales in order to make good use of this, is it breaks down your profile into these 4 categories and gives you a number, that kind of a ranking. So establishing your personal brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships, those are all super important elements to any job search. And you can take a look at this and you can use it as a way to set goals for yourself. So here I'm kind of lacking right now in my engagement. So that tells me I need to make a point. Maybe my goal would be to log into LinkedIn 3 times a week and add a comment to engage in a conversation in my industry, or perhaps share a relevant article or a post. And that would hopefully bump up my statistic here. And another thing to take a look at is at the bottom. This is another good way to gauge how your keywords are working in your profile, is it will tell you what industry they've got you put under. So if you're coming up as part of the wrong industry, that's an indication once again that you need to go in and tailor some of your keyword usage. Okay. The link, okay, so the link is, I'm getting requests to share the link. I'm not sure if it's for this or another link, but I'll put all the links that I've referenced in here. Oh, I see, Diana, thank you, you're helping me out. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is how you can use LinkedIn as a research tool. This is going to have my example, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to hop over to the profile, my profile here. One thing that I want people to do is, in order to engage with insights and build relationships and find those people that you're targeting in those, dream roles that you've got, dream companies that you've got, is to follow all those companies. So I'm just going to use Shopify as an example because I'm from Waterloo. So when you go onto a company website that you're interested in, I want you to click follow. This is really important because now when you're scrolling through your homepage, you'll see their posts from that company. So sometimes it's when they're looking to expand their teams and they have open jobs that they will be highlighting through their company profile. But it also is a great way to keep a pulse on new products, new developments. How are they showing up in their community? What do they value? And as you see those coming up in your news feed, in your home feed, I want you to engage with that and not simply just liking it, not simply just commenting interested. I want you to actually add some value, add some of your insights in order to start to get the attention from that company. So certainly hit follow. And then when you're looking at, okay, who can I connect myself with who works at that company? There's a lot of employees here. So you can click see all employees, but that's a lot of people to scroll through. So what you can do is, of course, add filters. Perhaps you want to target people only working in the Toronto office, and perhaps you only want to target people with the title managing director. That's already coming up, so let's go with that. And see who comes up in that job search. It's an important way that you can connect with the right people, do research into that person before you connect so that you can create a personalized message. But also, when you look at their profile, look at their activity. What are they posting about? Because sometimes it helps you in order to make that initial connection, and be specific. If they reference something in a media release that they've done, or maybe they were a guest speaker on a podcast, if they've referenced something that really resonates with you, talk about how, why did it resonate with you? Do you have an example that you can pull from and share with them? It's better to do something more specific and compliment them and kind of create a more deep conversation than to simply say, saw you on LinkedIn, would love to, share our communities. That doesn't really tell me anything about you, or why adding you to my network would be of value. And another tip here is when you do look at people's activities, sometimes it can be a red flag. So I'm just going to turn off my screen sharing for now so that I can see the comments. But I'm gonna also just quickly give you an example of what I mean by red flag. So I was working with a client earlier this week, and he'd identified a company and a position that he was thinking of targeting. We tracked down the CEO of that company on LinkedIn, and we took a look at their activity and saw some podcasts where he had been a guest speaker. And his philosophy and his attitude wasn't quite what my client had in mind. Didn't really value work-life balance, it seemed like. So we took a look at those videos that were on his LinkedIn profile, and then we also took a look at Glassdoor, which is another great resource for looking at company reviews to see what the culture's like. Take it with a grain of salt. I have worked for a company myself where the CEO said, go on there and write us a glowing review. But in general, it's a good way to just get a sense of what are past and present employers saying. So when we went onto Glassdoor and started looking at these reviews, the negative reviews really were aligned with the feeling that we had got from these podcast videos. So it turned out that this was not really a good fit for my client, and we decided not to pursue this as an application. So there you have it. I know I've gone through a lot of information really, really quickly. So like I said, there's a 10-minute buffer before the next session starts. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask, and I'll take as many as I can within the next 10 minutes. Okay, where can I find the keywords that recruiters type in to find my profile? Well, you won't know absolutely for sure, but like I said, if you go onto your dashboard and you click appearances, that can give you some indication as to how you're showing up in search results. It will list the common words that were used to find you. So that's on your profile, dashboard, go to appearances, and scroll down to the bottom. Do I recommend LinkedIn Premium? Yes and no. If you're doing a really, really intense job search where you need to have, unrestricted ability to run searches, then that's where LinkedIn Premium can make a difference. When I work with my clients, I often will help them try to target the right people that they need to reach out to. And unless you have Premium, it will cut you off at a certain point within the month, and you can no longer search for people. So if you are doing a very intense research component of your job search, if that's the phase that you're in, it might be worth having Premium for the duration of that time. But other than that, I mean, you have, I think you have some credits that you can use towards sending messages that are not people that are connected to you. So if you're really good at creating your value pitch in a LinkedIn message, then you could use that, but there's always ways around it. I like to pair up my LinkedIn research with email tracking tools and email hacking tools. So that's a whole other topic that we could get into on another day. But all in all, do the free trial, see if it works for you. If you are getting more out of the platform when using the premium version and it's worth it to you, then you can continue going with it. But if you do try the free 1-month trial, make a note in your calendar to cancel it, because otherwise they will automatically bill you. So just be careful about that. Okay. No, SSI, the Sales Navigator SSI tool is not exclusive to premium members. Anybody can access that. Would you recommend including your resume in your LinkedIn? I've seen this where some people will attach their resume to they'll pin it to their profile. In general, I'd say no, I wouldn't recommend this, because your resume is tailored towards a specific audience, whereas LinkedIn is a more general audience, right? You have a lot wider scope. So because I really advocate on, tweaking your resume and modifying it for each position, each company that you're applying to, I wouldn't suggest putting your resume on your profile. Just make sure that when you're completing your profile, you're adding a lot of great detail about the achievements that you've had within your career. Or, if you're transitioning into a new career, talk about how you have the right transferable skills to make an impact in that new industry, that new field. How to narrow down the search, for instance, to IT recruiters in Toronto only. So you could do a filtered search and put in IT recruiters and Toronto as the location and see what comes up. When it comes to running filtered searches, sometimes you just have to play around with it until you start getting the results that you want. But filtered searches is how you would do that, and you can select the location and type in the title that you're looking for. Okay, Daisy, LinkedIn is referred to as your resume on steroids. It's available for people to see it 24/7, 365. So make sure it's consistent with your other marketing material. Absolutely right. I totally agree with Daisy on that one. Would you recommend including all work experience or only those that are relevant to your role that you're currently looking for? Is there a way to separate out less relevant experience? This is a great question. And you don't have to include all of the work experience you've done. In general, I would say limit it to the last 10 years, unless the experience you have going further back is more relevant to the position you're now targeting. Maybe you made a career move 10 years ago and now you're looking to switch back. But in general, keep it focused on the last 10 years, and keep it focused on the achievements and the high level overview that you provide. Keep it focused on those daily duties and those achievements that are relevant to the particular work that you are targeting. If you don't have any relevant paid work experience, one thing that I will recommend people do is, instead of creating, let's say you've got volunteer experience, don't include it in the volunteer section. Put it in your work experience, but just in brackets specify that you were a volunteer. Make sure it's clear that it was not a paid position, but this way it will hopefully help with overcoming the algorithm, because you have that volunteer experience in the work experience section. If you have really short, say you started somewhere, you worked for 2 months, it wasn't right for you and you left. If you have really short stints in your employment chronology that you don't want to include, don't worry about including those. If it's a small gap in your resume, nobody's going to worry about that. Is it helpful to post that you're looking for a job on LinkedIn? This is something that career coaches have been debating for a long time. I'm generally in the camp that I don't like people to advertise that they're open to work. I think what you want to advertise is the value that you bring. Lead with your authentic brand, engage with those insights that we were talking about, and just gain your visibility and your credibility within that industry. That said, I think right now people are much more compassionate than we used to be. I've talked to recruiters and I've asked them, do you look for people who are currently unemployed? Like, are you okay with picking candidates to present to your clients, who would be the company who's hiring, that are currently unemployed? Or do you like to cherry pick people who are currently working? And I was pleasantly surprised, because all the recruiters, when they got back to me with their responses, said, no, if they're unemployed, that's not something that they would be concerned about, as long as they're demonstrating the value that they're bringing to the table, or they have the right skills they're looking for. Okay. However, I do know some recruiters have mentioned they will use the hashtag ONO, like open to new opportunities. So test it out, see if it works for you, if it changes your search results in any way. Before you do that though, I'd say really double down on your efforts to build your brand, get some serious traction on the platform, start really engaging and building relationships. Because once you've built up that brand, built up that credibility, and people kind of see you as this like, ooh, shining star, right? They get to know you on the LinkedIn platform. Then if you turn on your open to new opportunities, that could be, ooh, green light, let's go. We need to talk to that person right away. So just be strategic, be tactical in the way that you use that function. Okay. Oh, thank you, Diana. She's mentioning here there's a search cap with premium as well. Unfortunately, I recently learned a hack to find people on LinkedIn by using Google search with no cap. Okay, great hack. I love that, Diane. Thank you, Diana. Okay, so I see there's still a lot more questions. Unfortunately, the 10-minute window is up. I tried to get through as many as I could. If you have extra questions, certainly reach out to me. I'm gonna put my, hold on one second. I'm gonna put my LinkedIn profile URL in the chat box here. So if you have questions I wasn't able to get to, reach out to me through LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to answer any burning questions, whether it be in direct messaging or through future videos. Oh, and another thing, for those of you who want to continue to get some career insights, advice, tips, and just some support, I've teamed up with 5 other career professionals, and we do host free weekly Zoom sessions. So tomorrow at 1 p.m., we will be doing our next session. They're every Thursday at 1 p.m. I will also drop the link for that in case you want to join. It's a great way to kind of build a community around, build a community with, of course, career thought leaders, but also other people going through something similar to what you're going through as well. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in, and thank you so much, Toronto Jobs, for having me as a session speaker. Bye.